Hello and welcome to the Acelith Design Endurance Championship. Wow, that was a great start. 2021 Season 2 Round 4 Tier 1 and we're here at Brands Hatch in the Group 2s. This of course is about halfway through the season, and so far it has been a tale of TX3 Jack or JJ running away with it so far, with 2 wins in the first 3 races and a very strong opening result on the podium. Behind him, it's all a bit of a who wants it the most, with Bubo Lubo and Sir Bottlejob separated by only 8 points, and Jaggernaut and Bottlejob being on the same number of points after 3 rounds. It is very tight for the rest of the podium spots on at the top of Tier 1. So we'll take a look here at Brands Hatch, the famous racetrack here in the United Kingdom in Kent. And let's start with our championship leader, TX3 Jack, in the Nissan GTR, setting the pace of a 14.2. It says he's on softs, but there's now a new slightly interesting visual glitch. Of course there is, so he is probably on the super soft tyres, just the game likes to completely tell you complete lies. So we're just getting our camera settings sorted. So yes, like I say, TX3 Jack is very much back in form after a slightly downturn in form in Season 1, and here he's looking very strong. We've then got Jaggernaut, who's also looking pretty good in the GTR after a strong showing last time out at Suzuka in the Toyota 86, where he picked up a 3rd place. Currently in 3rd, though, we are of course missing TX3. Actually, no, we're going to talk about Kuska next, who is currently top of the standings in the Lexus, really showing kind of 2 different cars that could be strong at the moment. And of course we've got Gadget in P4 in the NSX, so 3 different manufacturers in the top 4 or top 5 currently. Kuska's had quite a quiet season, but he's only made 1 race so far, where he was unfortunately in the wrong class of car for the track. So he'll be trying to get his season kind of more underway now here at Brands Hatch in the Castrol liveried Lexus. Always a very fast driver, but not always the most prepared. Kuska should go well here tonight. We'll quickly jump back to Gadget, who's currently in P4. That's P5 member TX3 Jack. Isn't currently on the timing screens, but he is our current provisional pole sitter in practice, as qualifying is just about to get underway. But Gadget has had a fairly miserable season so far. Had a reasonable start for 5th place, but definitely would be looking for more, and looking pretty fast in that NSX. Could get himself a handy top 5 after his 5th place finish in the season opener, but he could have been on the podium then. So as the cars start to head out onto the track for the start of qualifying, we will have to basically disregard what everyone's tyres are, as Bubo Lubo stays in the pits, Ricey's in the pits, Berkey's in the pits, and Sean is in the pits so far. Just all the drivers giving each other some room as we head on board with Bubo Lubo, who's just coming out the pits now in the Honda NSX. Bubo Lubo, who's currently standing 2nd in the championship results after a fantastic opening win. But he's been a little bit inconsistent after that. A good P4 in the 2nd race, but a 30-second time penalty in race 3 knocked him down a couple of spots after what was quite a good drive. And he'll be looking to try and get some of those points back this time out at Brands Hatch. But we're going to go on board. There's a little bit of a battle here between TX3 Jack and Bubo Lubo. TX3 Jack is also on an outlap, just wanted to check that as we quickly go back to Bubo. We're going to go on board with Bubo for the track guide, as he's just warming up the tyres gently. Don't want to get stuck in the dirty air here. That is not what you want, but dirty air is very powerful around this track. A lot of medium to high speed corners in the second half of the lap really can throw you off very easily indeed. So as we head up down Clearways into Clark Curve, as we head down the Brabham Straight now. And we'll be starting with the fearsome Paddock Hill bend, off camber, downhill, not an easy corner, of course that inviting sand trap out on the outside. Keeps it fairly tidy using the NSX's strong front end. This is where the NSX is really strong through this sector. But it's a little bit weaker as we go through the hairpin at Druids. Gets on the power nicely, goes for the late apex, then down into Graham Hill bend. Slides a little bit wide there. The NSX has never been particularly great on low fuel compared to its high fuel trim. A little bit too little weight in the car as we head through Surtees. You want to wait and try and get a later apex as you power down Hawthorns. Through Pilgrim's Drop onto through Hawthorns there. Now through Westfield. Oh, it just gets out on the sand, but well held there. It's the first few times are coming through, and it's Kuska setting the early pace. There's Blue Racer. We haven't got to Blue Racer yet. Then Jaganet with a 14.5. That's the pole record already broken. We should see the pole record obliterated tonight. And currently it is a 14.9 set in 2019 by C.S. Smith. As we head towards Curve and through it for the final time. This is a fairly respectable first lap time for Bubo, but it won't be up there with the fastest guys. That's a P5, 2/10 behind Gadget as we head back through Paddock Hill after that first lap time. So after the first gambit, it is Jagana out in front. He's already had one pole this season in the Nissan GTR. Will he be able to improve? Well, he's a 10th and a half up as they head through Westfield. Down the hill towards Sheen as Blue Racer has binned it in front of him, so that's going to probably make him feel a bit good. He's got 4/10 margin at the moment, but we have seen some very fast laps. He's lost 7/10 though over the course of this lap. He will probably be bailing on that. That's not a great lap as Bottle Job has moved up into P5 ahead of Bubo Lubo. So we'll see if we can get a hold of a few more drivers now. We're at a maximum of 12 tonight. That's the full house with 2 drivers on sabbatical and 1 retiree. So let's go on board with Blue Racer. Blue Racer has not had the start to the season he was probably expecting. Of course, our season 1 Tier 2 champion and season 6 of 2020 Tier 3 champion really came in with all the momentum, probably was hoping to make a splash in his first season, and so far he's not really made that. He's only done 1 race, and he finished in 6th position there in the Huracan GT3. A very difficult car to get around Alsace, and you saw that when it stung him and put him in the wall. But Blue is very fast. We'll be showing off what that NSX can do as he heads through down Clearways. Up towards Clark Curve. Now onto the straight. What lap time will he... Oh, sorry, this is an out lap. I've completely missed that. So we'll see what he can do this time. We're going to ride on board as we head down. Oh, and that's the lap already ruined. Wide at Paddock Hill Bend. That's 2/10 gone immediately. Can he get it back with... No, he's on the grass. And that is lapped over. So he'll need to bring it back to the pits for a new set of tyres. And he's overdriving it already. He's actually a tiny bit up on himself, which really shows how much of it. But there's GX3 Jack popping in the 14.3. We knew he'd be strong, and that's a fantastic lap time there. Really showing what he can do in that NSX. Oh, the NSX, sorry, that GTR. And he may retire back to the pits at some point. He is now on the super soft tyres, so the currently that glitch is not showing, but it could show at any point. We should try and keep an eye on what people's times are against what the game is telling us. As we head back down towards the field, we're going to take a look at Spooky Lukey, who hasn't really put in a competitive lap time yet. We'd expect him to be a little bit further up the grid, as Berkey Baby has put himself into 9th position. He also will be looking to improve a little bit on that lap time, as Spooky Lukey now heads down. He's in the Lexus, a tricky car to drive around here, but is the defending race winning chassis at Brands Hatch. It's a very, very smooth but not very fast looking time, and he is almost 3/10 down on himself they head through as Bottle now up into P3. Really showing it's a GTR lockout at the front so far. I realise I misspoke actually earlier. It was actually Jeff Ronin who set the qualifying lap record with a 14.9 in the GTR, not as Kuska now up with the 14.6s. That's very tight, and it always is round here at Brands Hatch. Very difficult track to get right, to put all the corners together. Takes through Jack, backs out of a lap there, either because he made a mistake or he has the driver coming through. Muller has set a better lap time, and it's currently Shawnee at the back. Shawnee, who's not had the best of seasons so far. I believe he's actually started only one race. Yeah, well, one race last time out, but he did score 4th position in the Pug, so we'll see how he improves. A little improvement there for both Spooky Lukey and Gadget. Gadget up in P6 now, 7/10 off pole. See if he can improve any further in the NSX. And Blue Racer just ahead in P5, but he is 6/10 up on his own best lap, and he's 6/10 off of pole. So can he find a way to improve and get himself onto that front row? The NSX is a very strong car. 5/10 now up on himself, so he's got to find an extra 10th. Can he do it? Through Westfield there, up towards Sheen Curve, the hardest corner on this track because it's blind. You've got to have total commitment in the car, and that's what he's got through there. Now is 2/10 purple, just got to get Sterling's right. He's got Berkey, who's moved out of the way. Now into Clark Curve. This corner can make or break a lap. You've got to have total commitment through here. On the power early, a little bit of oversteer there as he clipped the curb. That might have cost him a little bit, but here we go. Running up towards the line. What will it be? It is a 14... No, sorry, that is a 14.330, and that is currently good enough for pole. Blue Racer setting the pace now and backs out now. Tan TX3 Jack improve. He's heading up towards Sheen Curve now on a lap. Is it any better than his previous? Very committed through there. A little bit of a different line. He is up. He's 7/100ths purple now, and he of course was stronger through here last time as we saw Blue Racer lose time on Jack. So can he be stronger through this corner now? A little bit wide maybe, but on the power probably better. He's going to run up towards the line, but he is not taking the inside line, and he takes it by 2/10 of a second. That's a huge lap by TX3 Jack there, looking invincible, indomitable out front right now, and he'll be backing that out. Will he try and push for a 13, or is he happy with that 14 laying down that marker? Also like to welcome all the viewers tonight on the stream. Hopefully have you all in chat soon. As we've got a lovely view of the back of the pit exit there, back of the pit garages there. So who can close up to TX3 Jack, who's looking absolutely unstoppable in this season so far? Blue Racer heads out for another lap. He's probably got 1 or 2 runs left if he can get this right. There's actually a little bit of battling there with Gadget in the NSX as well. Blue Racer there in P2, hoping to find another couple of tenths. He was purple by 2/10 coming into the final sector, but he didn't get a great final sector together. He's going to have to push it hard. Now TX3 Jack back on soft tyres. We don't know what tyres he's actually on, but it's very close. Either way, because we don't know what tyres he's on, so he could be on anything, but we expect it to be fast. Moving back down the grid, we're just going to quickly talk about DJ Rice, who's currently in the pit lane. He's done a 15.0, of course, had our pole position in the first race of the season, and has been doing a pretty good job in his return to Tier 1, currently 5th in the standings, having finished in 4th, 8th and 5th last time out, so really kind of fairly consistent season. Where 1/8th position came at Alsace, which was always going to be a difficult track for Ricey. Didn't seem to get on with the Supra there, but he'll be looking for another strong result here tonight, hopefully picking off maybe a couple of positions from mistakes ahead, because that's the big thing we need to mention here. As Jagannath's pulled off, so it looks like the top three are all backing out of that run and going for one last run down. They might get 2 laps in here with 3 minutes remaining. They've got to get round but not kill their tyres, and they might get 2 more laps of hot laps in. Same with Jagannath just behind, and TX3 Jack is happy to sit on that 14.0, so he thinks he's done enough. We've seen this before from him, and last time out that did get him pipped for position, I believe. But he did come back to convincingly win the race. So we'll take a quick look at the standings as they are now. So it is TX3 Jack in first, Blue Racer second, Jagannath third, Kuska in fourth, Boldjob in fifth, Gadget in sixth, DJ Rice in the pits in seventh, Boobo Lubo in eighth, Spooky Lukey in ninth, Berkey Baby in 10th, Muller CJ in 11th, and Mr. Sean, also in the pits right now, is currently at the back in 12th. So we're going to head on board with... who's coming around to start a new lap? It looks like Spooky Lukey is coming around for a lap start right now, so let's see what Spooky can do on their second to last gambit. Best tyres they can possibly have. This is when it all has to be put on the line. Right out wide, and immediately has put a wheel on the grass, and that lap is over. The important thing here now is they've got 30 seconds. Actually, I'm going to cut back to Blue, who's on his lap now, with Jagannath just behind. Can Blue find a better lap? The thing they've got to do is make sure that they don't. He is a 10th purple in Sector 1. Now he's got to find it in Sector 2. Make sure he doesn't try and kind of cut too early into the corner. Takes a nice line, but it is a little bit wide. It's found 2/10, but I think that's going to be kind of false gain there. He's going to have cost himself down the straight, and he has got Spooky Lukey in front, who will disturb his airflow. Boldjob up into a 14.4. Fantastic lap there by Sir Boldjob. Not quite enough to get himself onto the front row, but still a fantastic job ahead of Jagannath now. As Blue Racer a little bit wide out of Westfields there. Now throwing it through Sheen, taking all of the track and off. And that is that lap ruined. And Jagannath's not far behind, and Jagannath might get held up here. Blue Racer does move off to the side of the road. Blue Racer's got to clean those tyres up really fast, because that was a really good lap and he just threw it away. He's got to get those tyres cleaned up, otherwise he will not be able to improve. And he doesn't. He's binned it. That's it. That's his lap done. He will not get around. He's binned it out of the final corner, and that is TX3 Jack going to be on pole, because I don't think anyone here is going to have quite the pace. Blue Racer also starting on the soft tyres. Boldjob in P3 has got one last lap. Oh, a little bit of a compromise line there through here. Yeah, he's a long way off his best, but still a fantastic lap to get to P3. Jagannath on P4 with Kuska in P5 on a lap, but has just thrown it off at Sheen. Seems to be every time someone goes through Sheen corner, they throw it off the track. Gadget hooks the inside of Paddock Hill Bend, so that's a couple of tenths lost, may not improve. DJ Rice has put some tyres on so he can drive round to the pits. Boobo Lubo or Rockboy look like a messy exit out of 30s, but might have found an improvement. Nope, he's 9 seconds off his pace, so that's definitely not an improvement. Lukey is on a lap, but we saw made a mistake. Can they improve? I don't think this is going to be an improvement. Unfortunately, they are going right to that line, and it's not an improvement. Berkey Baby on the final lap, heading up towards Sheen corner. Now will the curse of the commentator happen for a fourth time, Berkey? Keep it tight. Good run through there. Is up by 2/10. Can sneak possibly 9th position right now. Just got to get clearways right. And Paul's done a 13.960. That is a massive lap. That's Britain Spit, or TX141. Currently will be the new... just misses out on getting past Boobo, but Berkey does move up one position to 9th, so good lap by him. But no one else, I think, is on a lap at this point. If they are, that is a surprise, because it's been a while. Qualifier has ended. So it is TX3 Jack once again at the front, and a fantastic result for him. Just behind is Blue Racer. We saw this similar lineup And it is a rolling start tonight, I meant to say. Rolling start tonight, so it's a big advantage being on the pole position here because you're not going to have the dirty air. Flux the Duck won this race, you could say, based on the start line launch that he got compared to Ronan in 2019. So let's see what happens here tonight. On board with TX3 Jack. One thing that is going to be coming about in future seasons is a manual rolling start where this kind of gap isn't going to be there. So here we go. As the back of the grid is still coming out of Clark Curve. TX3 Jack in to the first corner at Paddock Hill. Everyone cleanly through there so far. We'll see if it's the same through the back of the pack. Yes, everyone's looking very clean and safe so far. But unfortunately, no one looking like they're in a position to attack, apart from Blue Racer, who's all over the back of TX3 Jack already. He goes wider than now. Can he find a way down into Surtees, or will he go for the move down? Oh, he has. He's gone for the move down the inside. Now, that's a bit aggressive. That could be deemed a push to pass, but Blue Racer currently is going to be leading. And we see further behind, it looks like Jaganet's under threat from Kuska. So that was a tight battle there. There's also jostling positions further back. But Blue Racer has stolen away the lead so far. Can he manage to make a gap, or was that deemed a little bit too aggressive? We'll have to see in the post-race. But Blue Racer currently leads as we head through down clearways into Clock Curve for the first time of asking. Blue not making the mistake he made at the end of qualifying. TX2 Jack is going to be possibly slightly annoyed with the fact that he's lost out position there. As we find a good camera. And who's going to be quicker at this start? Now, like I said before, the start is really crucial here. Because whoever leads doesn't get that dirty air. They can protect their front tyres, protect their rear tyres as well from overheating. Does Blue Racer have the pace to pull away from TX3 Jack? Of course, our race leader. TX3 Jack, of course, slightly used to following an NSX in Group 2 now, after being behind both Flux the Duck and former A-Deck racer Flapjack at Autopolis in Season 1. So he's quite used to watching the back end of a Honda, but he has a few times managed to get past them and lead away from the Hondas, which always start well, but seem to be weaker as the fuel comes off. A little bit more understeer comes into the car as the weight comes off the front. And it's Blue Racer's round! That's it! I told you it might happen! And it's happened not quite immediately, but Blue Racer has hit the wall. And we shall take another look at that if we can get on board with Blue. But that is a huge incident. Let's take a look back and what happened there. He was just running through, looking very good, comfortably out. Touched the they're pushing, I think, a little bit too hard. Through Sheen corner, touched the grass, and at that point he knew it was all over, and TX2 Jack would have had a huge smile on his face. Because that has opened up the floodgates there. Blue Racer doing the right thing though, staying off the racing line as he rejoins. And that is going to be probably damage repair. Let's take a look, see if he's in the pits for damage repair. No, currently he looks like he's not, but he is carrying damage. But that is the danger of this track. It's so easy to do that, especially at Sheen Corner. We've seen that before. We saw that in 2019. And let's see if anyone can now keep with Jack, who is running wide himself. So he is pushing quite hard. Of course, we're not 100% sure what tyres Jack is on, but he's not pushing quite as hard as before. Bottle Job is now behind with Jaganat in P3. Jaganat all over the back of Bottle Job now. Two drivers. What says Jaganat's on softs. We'll see how that goes. Of course, he will have the dirty air, but also the slipstream through that second half of the lap. So we've got Bottle Job. There we go. Sorry, we've got the position and standings back up. TX3 Jack having set the early pace of a 15.8. Jack currently 3 seconds ahead of Jaganat, so 2.5 ahead of Bottle, and he's looking comfortably out front already, and that's probably how he wants it. Meanwhile, Gadget has pulled up into P4, Bubo in P5, Kuska's down to P6. We'll have to check to see if Kuska's got damage. No, he just made a mistake, and it looks like mostly holding station after that. Looks like Berkey Baby is shaping up a move on Spooky Lukey. Spooky having got past him earlier on in the race. And Spooky did start behind him. But we'll go on board with Berkey now as they head through Hawthorns. Oh, he's looking for a move into Westfields. That is a bold place to overtake. You can just about run too wide there. Little bit of contact, but no one went off. I'd say that was probably just on the limit of acceptable as they head through Sheen. No one touching the grass this time. A good move there by Berkey. He's keeping himself in that pack right now. As we'll head up the field a little bit, we're going to go on board with Kuska, who is on the soft tyre. Jump back over to the race standings. And currently, looks like TXT Jack is pushing a little bit harder with a 15.8 now. Pace is actually a little bit slower than expected. Could have been in the mid to low 15s possibly. But TX3 Jack not taking any chances and possibly is actually running those soft tyres. We'll have to see later on in the race. But still very close to the actual lap record in the race, which is a 15.5. Bottle job in P2. And this is a very similar looking race actually to 2019. Just for P2 instead of P1. TX3 Jack having gotten out of that slipstream and is now kind of comfortably pushing. Not too hard, but also not letting himself make any mistakes. Bottle job has the smallest of margins over Jaggernaut, and then a fairly comfortable 3-second gap to Gadget, who's looking consistent but not looking particularly lightning at the moment. So we're gonna skip back a couple of positions and take a look at Blue Racer, who of course is still carrying that damage, and that is going to absolutely scupper their race. Surprised they didn't pit and take the tyres as Spooky has got back past Berkey Baby. Have to see what happened there. Berkey ran wide out of Clark corner. Well, very well done to hold on to it. But that has given the position back to Spooky. Berkey there in the Twitch car. We head back up towards the front, and again it looks like Bottle is starting to pull away a little bit. Bottle job with his Jean and Lacey inspired helmet. And is pulling comfortably away from Jaggernaut now, so really doing well and actually holding pace with TX3 Jack ahead of him. Just got to make sure he doesn't overdrive that car. We've seen him do that before in the GTR. He's been fast, but then slightly overdrove. But he's only 3.5 seconds off, and actually at this point, TX3 Jack not looking particularly quick. Will Jack try and pull that gap out a little bit more, or does he feel like it's enough at this point? Jack will have the advantage, of course. He is on the steering wheel and pedals, whilst Bottle Job is using the pad. Has just got a little bit more tyre wear saving ability. Could be a little bit more consistent with the inputs compared to Bottle, but Bottle is throwing everything he can to see if he can secure his second ever A-Deck win. Jaggernaut in P3, doing a very good job, just maintaining that gap to P4 Gadget, who's starting to come under some pressure from Bubo Lubo, who's got Kuska right behind, and DJ Rose not far behind that. So this is a really good little battle here now, and it's 3 different manufacturers of course here. We've got the Hondas up front, then we've got the Lexus, which is the ill-favoured car of these 3. If you look at kind of what the choices are, very much the GTR and the Honda have taken over, while the Lexus, which used to be the favourite of seasons past, but it is definitely going well for Kuska, even if he's not quite at the sharp end that maybe he wanted to be. Meanwhile, Bubo all over the back of his ex-team boss, Gadget. And can he find a way through? Gadget is a wily defender, and will put his car where he needs to, but a little bit of dust kicked up there by Gadget, but a good exit. He's got the car turned in how he wanted. We head up towards Paddock Hill Bend. Here goes, they go through the first time. First corner, sorry, not the first time, it's the 8th time of asking. And Bubo, a little bit of a slide into the corner there. definitely looking like he's got a bit more pace, but stuck with that dirty air behind. Same possibly with Kuska. This is a bit of a bottled up bunch of drivers. And Spooky now has pulled away. It looks like Berkey possibly has pitted or has made a mistake. Not quite sure at this point. No damage and no fresh tyres, so I would assume a small mistake. So nothing on the timer board, and I love a little mistake there from Berkey. He's just got to calm it down a little bit, not push too hard. Oh, and he's gone a little bit wide there. Those tyres looking a bit worn. He might go for a undercut strategy, but those tyres are worn at this point. He needs to just get his head back under him and get back up the grid. The driver we haven't talked about yet is Muller CJ, who is just behind Blue Racer. Blue Racer, who has now pitted. He's had enough. He doesn't want to deal with that damage anymore. Clips the wall there, but not hard enough to really be considered probably wall riding, which is not allowed, because we're on board with Blue Racer. So he is currently... oh, unfortunately the gap isn't being told to us. It's about 27 seconds. Berkey is now into the pits, and he is on the soft tyres potentially. Meanwhile, up front, TX3 Jack has extended that gap now up to 5 seconds, so starting to push a little bit harder and pull away. Meanwhile, Subbottle Job in P2 ahead of Jaggernaut, and Gadget is starting to close that gap down a little bit. So that's very interesting. Jaggernaut either made a mistake or the front tyres are starting to go on that NSX. So TX3 Jack doing what he knows best, leading out front, not letting anyone get to him at this point. And he's got a nice 5-second gap, which gives him plenty of time to react if someone does go for an undercut, but at the moment looking very comfortable out front, as we've got a pit stop there for Kuska. And he'll be well ahead of Blue Racer, who I think stayed out far too long on that damaged chassis, the damaged front wing, and that suspension damage to the right hand corner, front corner. And then we've got Sean in 11th, who's just running around at the moment, trying to make sure he doesn't make a mistake, pick up any positions when others do. Meanwhile, in the battle for P5, that gap has started to come back out, so Bubo might have overcooked his tyres slightly. And he may be ruining being so aggressive at the start there. Meanwhile, DJ Rise there in P6. Having another really steady, consistent drive, which is what really builds DJ Rice's campaigns. He's never quite the quickest, despite his pole position, but he's always really consistent. And ever since getting back to Tier 1, I think that's the thing he's shown off best, is his lack of mistakes, his very professional attitude to how he races. Doesn't get stuck in stupid scraps, and makes sure he gets himself the points when it's all said and done. Spooky Lukey, on the other hand, getting very sideways there, and Muller is all over the back of him, and actually really showing why Muller, despite not always having the best results, but really showing why he's always in Tier 1. Always has been. Good on his tyres, patient, very wily, strategic mind. Doesn't do things like that we saw from Spooky Lukey, pushing far too hard and going wide. Costing himself more time, even though Muller's the one in the dirty air. Back out front, we've got TX3 Jack with the gap up to 7 seconds now, so really looking after those tyres in comparison to Bottle Job. We'll take a little look. Those tyres are looking around 25 to 30% worn, while Bottle Jobs are a little bit more worn. And actually, Jaggernaut looking like he's starting to close back in there. We'll just have a look at the difference in tyres. Back on those soft tyres, of course, is Jaggernaut, so maybe he is actually on the soft tyres. But I think it could very well be this time by for a lot of drivers coming in if they're on a 3-stop strategy. However, some may be trying the 2-stop, and of course we've had some stoppers in for the 4-stop, which could work. The tyre pit stop time isn't particularly long, and the fuel in these cars is pretty good. You can get about 30 laps of fuel out the car, so on the 4-stop you can make that work quite well. But we'll see if the race leader, TX3 Jack, does go into the pits this time. He's done a 16.6. No, he stays out this time. So will Bottle Job go for the undercut? Looks like TX3 Jack's either going for his overcut strategy, and it is. Bottle Job is in this time. Jaggernaut goes around again. So will these guys go for a 2-stop, or are they going to go for... As we just got a notification got up there. And we have lost one driver, unfortunately, which is Berkey Baby. Sorry about that, I forgot to turn all my notifications off, as Berkey Baby has left the room. I'll have to catch up with him later to find out what happened. That was unfortunately the notification that Berkey Baby had gone offline, which is one of the few notifications I actually still have. So apologies for that all. Jaggernaut in P2. 9 seconds off the back of Jack, and we'll have to see if the gap extends or not. Gadget in P3. Gap to Jaggernaut stabilised around the 3.5 seconds, so looks like Jaggernaut's tyres are starting to come back in, whilst Gadgets are starting to fade. He's of course on the super soft tyres, but we'll see if any of these guys come into the pits this time. And it looks like no, none of them have this time, so it is going to be a 2-stop strategy from those out front, I believe. Gap at 9 seconds, so it all comes down to, can Bottle Job make the 3-stop work? Bottle Job taking the mowing the grass route there. An interesting line, but staying consistently ahead of Kuska, who pitted early, and he's probably on the 4-stop strategy. I actually want to see what Kuska's tyres are. He's on the soft tyres again, allegedly. Of course, we don't know for certain if the tyres do get updated, thanks to this wonderful new visual glitch that we get from Gran Turismo. So Bottle Job up in 4th position. But of course, he'll be running faster than anyone else on track right now. Did a 1:19.6, but that was his outlap, so we'll see what he can do this time by. Just checking chat, see what's come up there. Bottle Job this time by, let's see what lap time he can do. It was a 1:16.2, so not quite as fast as possibly he was hoping for. That isn't going to be a new fastest lap. It's actually Blue Racer with the fastest lap right now. I hadn't actually spotted that. So Blue Racer, who is up to P6, though he has picked up a slowdown penalty, and of course he can't overtake whilst having a penalty applied, but it is quite easy to remove the penalty here. You can lose a couple of tenths into Druids, and possibly another couple of tenths into Surtees. Oh, a big wiggle there for Blue Racer. It seems every single car I go on board with tonight seems to have misfortune every time I go near them. So we're gonna go off Blue Racer just so he doesn't have any problems, and we're gonna take a look back at Kuska, who is doing very well on slightly older tyres, of course. His softs are a little bit worn, while Bottle Job's supers that he's running ahead of him haven't quite got that kind of wear on them. They're very fresh, and he's got to try and get past Gadget, who's kind of ruining that strategy a little bit. He needs to get in tight and really make a decisive move. Gadget's tyres are fairly worn at this point. And Bottle Job is able to close in as they head down towards Paddock Hill Bend. Now, we saw this in 2019 with Plux the Duck, who went for the move into Surtees, lined him up round and made sure he got the better exit on the way down to Pilgrim's Drop. Having a little look into Graham Hill Bend, but making sure he stays tight into Surtees, one of the best places to overtake on this track. Will he have a launch down the inside, or will he be patient and wait for the... Oh no, makes a little bit of a mistake there. Takes it down into first gear. Has lost the opportunity to make the move down into Hawthorne. Meanwhile, Jaggernaut, who has pitted and dropped back into 5th position. We'll just check to see if Jack has pitted. He's pitted as well. So the gap to Gadget is now 5 seconds. And that really shows you how much time Jack has managed to get out this time. We're just going to see if he pitted last time out, so this is his out lap. It had a really, really big gap actually. So plenty of room, and I think that's probably made his strategy. Gadget, having held up Bottle Job really successfully there, plays himself well and truly into possibly a P3 there. Kuska there. Oh, having a little bit of a look. But doesn't quite have the tyres, I think, to be able to stay with Bottle Job at this point. But 2.5 seconds that Bottle lost on that lap. Couldn't quite find the way past, couldn't make a decisive move. He should be quicker on this lap, should be able to pull back away from Kuska without the dirty air. Jaggernaut in P4, and Blue Racer, who has driven himself right back into this race, doing a fantastic job there. He's going to be dangerous, but he is now starting to have very worn tyres. He's going to have to be careful not to make the mistake he made early on in the race, which really cost him a chance at P1. He was looking like he could hold TX3 Jack to account. At this point, he's been in the dirty air and the traffic, and he's losing that time. But Jack is now going to be pushing hard on his first lap out, staying on the soft tyres, at least we think. We don't know for sure, but let's see what his first lap time is after going out, and it is a 15.0. Takes another 0.2 out of the first lap and half a second out of the previous lap record. A fantastic drive there. Bottle Job 7 seconds behind, a second slower in terms of pace though. Jack is absolutely turning it on at this point, and I think he is now on super soft tyres. That visual glitch really throwing everyone a loop. But we'll have to see how that progresses. Bottle Job pulling away from Kuska like I said he would, but we're going to go back down the field a little bit. It is Jaggernaut in P4, Bubo in P5. He's just at his best lap of the race of a 16.1 a couple of laps ago, followed up by 16.2, so really being consistent right now in that Honda NSX. Having used a lot of fuel, and Ricey's been really frugal on that fuel. Looking very good. Gadget down in P7 now after using the two-stop strategy. We've got 6 people watching us right now. Hello to all. Hope to see you all in the chat. Put a message up if you're enjoying the race. So TX3 Jack having set that 15.0 last time by. Can he improve it? No, he can't. 0.3 slower. It's a It's pushed another second out on Bottle in P2, and this is what TX3 Jack's kind of becoming known for. He kind of has a reasonably steady first stint, but then really puts on the turns on the jets, as would be said in American football, in the second and third stints, really pushing hard. And of course, he's now on the steering wheel and pedals. Previously a pad user, and it's really showing the difference that he makes. He can be so much more consistent, and really is the class of the field at this time. Bottle Job in P2. Really showing a good turn of pace. And he's, of course, a fair way ahead of his main title rivals of Jaggernaut in P4 and Buba Luba in P5. And he will move himself up into P2 in the standings, where he almost finished joint last season. And then DJ Rice in P6. Just behind Buba Lubo. Putting, like I say, in a really steady but professional looking drive. Gadget has now got Blue Racer all over the back of him. Of course, Blue, who's just pitted for a new set of tyres, has looked absolutely ferociously fast. Will Blue be patient, or is he going to push to a little bit too hard? We'll have to see. We saw that move that was very decisive early on. As we see, Kuska has now pitted. And he's dropped a little bit away. It's Kuska now comes out just behind. Again, actually makes a great run through Paddock Hill Bend, despite having the distraction there of Kuska. Great run, but Blue takes a little bit of time out of him into Druids. Of course, that is the Constantine effect. Gadget gets away again. What can Blue Racer do? And of course, he's got Kuska right behind, so he can't afford to be too silly with this. Got to be very careful not to push too hard. He's lost probably his opportunity this lap. He's just going to have to settle in behind, but Gadget has a wiggle there in the NSX, and now Blue's right up behind him again as they go through Westfields. And actually, I just want to point out, Bubo's up to P3 now on that strategy. Jaggernaut has fallen down. He's made a mistake. We missed that. Have to see if possibly we'll get that back on the replay camera. No, unfortunately it was on the last lap, so we didn't see what happened. That is an unfortunate mistake, and now Ricey in P5 thanks to the pit stop of Kuska, who's now in P8. Gadget there. Still holding on. Just in P7 now, already showing kind of how much time he's lost after that second pit stop to TX3 Jack, thanks to that damage and being stuck in traffic. Again, much faster through this second section of the track. Half a second down on his best lap, so Gadget is starting to hold him up. Meanwhile, Kuska looking closer and closer. Oh, and Blue Racer having a look now into Druids. He got the better run for Paddock Hill Bend. Sorry, I just glanced down to look and see if there had been a change in chat. Now Kuska's going to have a look as well. But no, Blue Racer's now free, and that's going to probably have annoyed Kuska that he couldn't just cheekily follow through. He'll get the better... No, not quite the better run. He didn't get the line right through there. He couldn't get close enough to upset Gadget's line, and Gadget got a much better line, and he'll have Slipstream as they head down towards Hawthorns through Pilgrim's Drop. Now down a gear, down 2 gears now for Kuska. Massively faster than Gadget through that part of the track. The Lexus, whilst hasn't got the best turn-ins, got great rear end stability. And sometimes in a corner like that, once you've got the nose in, it's all like, look at the gap Blue Racer's pulled since getting past Gadget. That's how much time he was losing, and of course he's going to have burnt those tyres up, but he might have been able to save a little bit of fuel. We're just going to skip ahead now to run through the field. DJ Rice has now fallen off a little bit off the back of Jaggernaut, couldn't make that pull. We'll have to see if Blue Racer is going to start closing in. I think he is. He's taken 9/10 out of him, setting a 15 there, and will Blue manage to get himself back up onto the podium? He is running a similar pace to TX3 Jack out front, who did a 15.7 last time out, comfortably out, 14 seconds ahead in the lead. Bottle job on those old tyres is going to have to pit very soon. He's probably on his in-lap this time, or maybe next time. So those tyres are really starting to fall off. Bubo Lubo up in P3, he's taken a second out of Bottle Job. Bottle Job's got to be careful here, because he looks like he was nailed on for P2, but he's got to be so careful not to destroy those tyres and fall back into the clutches of this group. currently it is all looking rosy for TX3 Jack. He can start to lift off the gas a little bit. Half the race done. He doesn't have to push so hard. He knows he's got less pit stops than the car directly behind him, and a big gap at that as well. Down in the 16s now. He can start to think about managing his tyres, managing his fuel. As we head back towards the back of the field, we've got Miller, who's just pitted for his second pit stop. And Mr. Sean, who is not too far behind Miller. About 4 seconds behind. He's a couple of seconds off the pace, but running around at the back, waiting to see if someone ahead makes a mistake. Spooky Lukey though, this driver I probably would have expected a little bit more pace out of, if I'm honest. After such a strong showing early on in the season, yeah, really has not gotten well here in the Lexus, a car which freely admits they really enjoy to drive, so I'm surprised about the lack of pace. This is a difficult track, running wide there, so really showing just not at one with the car and the track here. Lexus is also quite a long wheelbase car. You know, it really looks like a saloon car compared to the GTR and the NSX, which look much faster and much less large, let's say. But Lexus is a very, very good car, as shown by Kuska, who is currently in P7, still stuck behind Gadget. And that's got to be so frustrating because he can just see Blue Racer disappearing up the road. As we see, Boljob has pitted this time. Has Bubo Lubo in for his second stop, so those two are on the same strategy. Jaggernaut might have played himself back into P2 here, despite making that mistake. His tyres are going to be worn. Blue Racer back up to P3, but of course he's on the 4-stop strategy, so he's got maybe 2 extra pit stops to do against Jaggernaut's time. But he is closing in on TX3 Jack over the course of the last couple of stints, but it's not going to be enough to make a dent in that 20-second lead that TX3 Jack currently owns. And this is the advantage you have when you're the leader. You can just relax, think about your tyre wear, not push too hard. But this track can bite at any time, and TX3 Jack will know that. Can't let himself get too complacent. He'll be in 8 minutes time, which is going to be around 6 laps. Meanwhile, that battle between Kuska and Gadget is still very hot. Kuska is going to be probably getting a little bit annoyed, losing that tyre grip. Oh, Gadget there. Just trying to find that pace, keep the car moving forward. Gadget, who last time out had an absolutely abysmal race at Suzuka, just couldn't get the Audi working. Be hoping to have a strong performance here today on that 2-stop strategy, looking very strong indeed. Just not able to make any sort of impression. And actually, talking of impressions, it's Blue Racer who's just got ahead, got down the inside, made a great over-under move, and has powered away. Let's see if we get a little bit further back. No, unfortunately, can't get a further back clip of that, unfortunately. But Blue Racer absolutely flying at this point. Remember, Jaggernaut is on the 2-stop strategy. He'll be coming in about 5 laps time. His tyres are wrecked, while Blue 20 seconds back, but is still flying on those tyres. Still in the 15s. So really showing the pace. Take a little look now at the difference in fuel. So Blue's also... Oh! I was just saying Blue was flying, and Blue's gone flying into the wall. And that's race over. Has there been contact with Jaggernaut? No, but let's take a look on board, see what happened there. They head towards, through, just wide out of Paddock Hill, clips that, and just cannot get it away from the wall. Lucky there was ghosting on there, but Jaggernaut did run wide. That was a bit of an unsafe rejoin. I wonder if that will get penalised. That was very aggressive there by Blue. And Blue still managing to hold on to second, but look at the gaggle of cars behind him now. We've got second held by Blue Racer, then we've got third by Jaggernaut, who's lost a load of time. Then Gadget in P4, and this has really helped Gadget out because he was looking like, you know, he was just off the back of Jaggernaut, couldn't quite make the two-stop get any further up. Now, Blue Racer's going to have an extra pit stop, and will have to pit for damage. He'll have to pit off sequence from his strategy. Bottle Job's closed up to the back of this group as well after pitting again. And can he find a way through at all? This is absolute lunacy from second down to sixth. And Boobalooba's not even that far behind in seventh. Meanwhile, TX3 Jack haven't got a care in the world. Finally, Kuskus find his way past. That looked like an absolute melee of mess here. What is going on? We'll have to take a look again, see what was going on. Looked like someone lifted out. No, Gadget was on the inside of Jaggernaut, who probably got a bad accident. There was contact as Kuskus tried to go around the outside. Then Bottlejob tried to find a way past Gadget. Just couldn't quite make that one move, but we're going to go back on board. Can't dare miss out on any of this action. Blue Racer got the damage on the car. He's got absolutely torn up rear tyres from that half spin. And that's how quickly the tyres fade in these cars. If you spin up the rears, Kuska looking really feisty down the inside of Jaggernaut. Jaggernaut, who possibly was a little bit contact there. Kuska's tyres aren't looking great. Gadget's tyres won't be looking at. Bottle's got the best tyres out of anyone here and is being held up massively in his strategy. Gadget's gone round. Blue Racer's gone round. What absolute craziness has occurred here? That is the wrong button. I do apologise. Let's get out of there. Let's see what happened. So, Blue Racer hit the wall. Hit the glass. Gadget tried to avoid and lost his position. Did Gadget take contact with the wall? Yes. No. Sorry. Yep. Both cars are damaged. Absolute madness has occurred. Ruined two races. It looks like. Only advantage for Gadget is he was pretty much at the point where he was going to be taking his pit stop. Blue Racer, second time in for damage. He'll be taking some fuel on as well. Is he going to try and go to the end? No, just a splash. But he's right out behind Gadget. And the madness continues. Jaggernaut up to P3 now. Kuska in P3. Now, the person who may have gained out of that is Bottlejob, because there's now less cars for him to get through. His three-stop strategy now may work out better because of that. Really, that was some absolute madness. Blue Racer, who'd driven so well back up the field, finally got himself some clear space. Back to P2. Looked like it was all going well, and he throws it off the wall, off the edge of the map there, and decides to not pit straight away. Carries on with that damaged car instead of taking the fresh tyres and the repairs, and chaos ensues behind him. Poor old Gadget gets caught up in it. Probably unsighted, ran a little bit wide, trying to work out what to do. Hits the wall himself in the same place, of course, where Blue did. Kuska indicating to let Bottlejob through at this point. Kuska's tyres absolutely wrecked from being in battles for so long. And he's got very little fuel left in that car as well. He's absolutely drained the tank. Bottlejob ahead has taken fuel as well, so that's going to open that gap up. Jaggernaut's got plenty of fuel as well, so Kuska's got a little bit of trouble there of having very little fuel left in the car, so he's absolutely drained that tank. Jaggernaut up in P2. Bottle will be trying to find a way past. Jaggernaut will be pitting in probably a lap and a half, while Bottlejob down the inside there. Now he's going to have the outside line as they head towards Pilgrim's Drop. Will he try a massively bold move around the outside? I'd say that was very unwise to do so. He backs up into the slipstream. Let's be honest, P1 is not in the cards here today. He just needs to keep it careful, keep it consistent, look after those tyres, and then use them once he's got past Jaggernaut. Again, try and set Jaggernaut up at one of the few places you can overtake here, and then use the better tyres in the second half of the lap to pull away from Jaggernaut, who will then have the dirty tyres as they head up towards Clark Corner, down Clearway Straight. It's all about taking that momentum through this corner. Don't let yourself lose too much. Now, Paddock Hill Bend, really important to set this up well. We're going to go on board with Bottlejob. So head up towards Druids. He's going to stay tucked in. Don't let himself run into the back of him. Use the tyres to stay consistent. Get on the power nicely. Now, fill the mirrors of Jaggernaut. Make sure he gets the good run out of Graham Hill Bend. Oh, a little bit of contact. Oh, that was a little bit risky there. He does lift off to let Jagonet back through, because that could have been considered a push pass, but Jagonet's wide now. Now, can Bottle get a good enough run out of here? Stays in the slipstream there, down towards Pilgrim's Drop, but these are identical cars, and it's not till around 150 miles an hour that the slipstream starts to get powerful, and it's not going to be enough. That's another lap step behind, but Jagonet's run wide as they head down toward Westfield. Again, not quite close enough. That is harrying him. TX3 Jack, by the way, back in the pits. He's going to be taking his final stop. A comfortable comfortable race. Going to take some fuel on board. Very easy run there for TX3 Jack. Meanwhile, behind them, Jagonet is now finally going to pit on lap 33. It looked like Kuska was in as well. Kuska with no fuel left in that car. Very destroyed tyres. Where is Blue Racer and Gadget? Here's the interesting thing. How much time did these two lose in that incident? I think Jagonet's going to be well free. But where is Kuska? There's the really interesting one. Kuska is coming out the pits now. Gadget's going to be sweeping in. And it is he going to come out just... He is! He's going to be between the two of them. So Blue Racer there in P8. Now back behind Kuska, who's got fresher tyres, remember. Now he's on soft tyres. Kuska's on soft tyres, and Gadget's on super soft tyres. However, we don't know if any of that's true. It could be completely different. We do not know at this point. All we do know is that those three cars are very tight together, similar sort of pace. I'd say Blue Racer's the quickest, but he has been the most likely to destroy their tyres, and he's likely to pit again. Gadget won't be pitting again, and Kuska won't be pitting again, as Kuska has just pitted. He'll have the freshest tyres of the three, and then Blue Racer will probably pit again and try and use the tyres to get back up towards them. Fuel levels are similar as we head back towards the front. We have TX3 Jack has got 12-second lead on Bottlejob, who still needs to pit one more time, and Bubo Lubo, who I believe also needs to pit one more time. So this is probably our battle for P3 now. Ricey a little bit further behind, but has, like I said before, kept his nose clean, kept himself out of the battles, and is going to pick up a good result. Now, it may only be P6, it may be P7, it may be P5, maybe P4, we don't know, but he's stayed out of the battles. He's kept his nose clean, just like our leader, TX3 Jack, and therefore has kept himself in good position. Jagonet is the interesting one here. We know he's on the 2-stop, we know he's good to the end. His fuel is good, at around 45% fuel, so he is definitely going to the end, definitely going to be safe, and has got around 13 seconds, I believe it is, to Bottlejob, who we know is pitting and may take fuel on. So I think Jagonet will probably get the position back, but he'll be on ancient tyres, and it will all come down to can Bottlejob find a way past, and he's got fairly good tyres, and Jagonet's will be ruined. We're going to take this opportunity to look down further down the grid. Muller up into 9th position. He's got fairly old tyres. Spooky Loki, who's made a couple of errors, it looks like. Looks like he's done a 129 at some point. That wasn't scheduled, which may have dropped him behind. And Mr. Sean currently bringing up the rear, having pitted not long ago, I think. But still doing a fairly comfortable race. He's just behind our race leader, who's just improved on his own personal best fastest lap. And he's improving on it again. Will he manage to drop it into the 14s? And possibly be able to beat the old qualifying lap record, which of course used to be run with no fuel. But the cars and the drivers have got faster since that time in 2019. Yep, a little bit quicker, not quite as good through the final sector. Still a 15-0. Meanwhile, Bottlejob just hanging on ahead of Bubo now. He's got to be careful with those tyres. Bubo and Bottle, very similar tyre wear, but slightly different way round. Fuel level looking very similar, a little bit in the favour of Bottlejob, who's doing a little bit better on that fuel. But the GTR is a tiny bit better on fuel than the Honda if driven in the correct way. job focusing on the exit line there. You saw that in terms of the gap each time, just making sure he gets on the power well. Bottle job right out on there onto the Astro kind of turf slash mesh on that exit of Graham Hill Bend. Really trying to extend the track as much as he can, get that power on early and stay ahead of that slipstream. And he's pulled a 10th away. Meanwhile, that battle between 6th, 7th and 8th still really close between these three cars. We know Blue is likely to be pitting again, but maybe he'll try and do 23 minutes on the same set of tyres. Kuska's got the best tyres of the three currently, that he's bottled up behind the NSX in what I think is probably the weakest car in the Lexus. And the two NSXs, which are much stronger on the throttle, not on the throttle, and turning. Go on board. Kuska's made a mistake there. Will bottled Blue Racer get a lift? Oh, what's going on there? Kuska had to lift. Not quite sure why that happened, but that's released Blue. So we see DJ Rice now into the pits, or out of the pits, let's say. Gadget is through. Now, where is Blue? He has not made his way past. Blue is going to attack though into Druids, but he can't get down the inside quite. If DJ Rice can hold this, he'll have a massive advantage on tyres. A little bit of contact there from Blue and DJ, but Blue will have to hang his way around the outside. Kuska having a look. Now Blue Racer going for the switchback. If DJ can hang this around the outside, I'd be amazed. Blue has managed to get the position on him, and he's gone for that same block manoeuvre that he went for on that first lap, and it was a very successful manoeuvre. Get himself up to P6, not stuck behind traffic. But again, very aggressive, little bit of a push. And Ricey running wide on those slightly cold tyres, not quite getting them up to temperature, and that separated Blue from Kuska now. Kuska, who's really lost out there by making that mistake through Sterling's. They head through, and now here we go. So, Bottle in the pits, Bubo in the pits just behind, Jaggernaut coming out of Clark Curve now. 9 seconds was the gap. Let's see what there's going to be as they exit. Bottle is now exiting the pits. Bubo is behind, but taking a fair whack more fuel on board. So I think Bubo's thrown away his chance at possibly getting a P3. Jaggernaut 3.7 seconds up the road. So Bottle knows what the target is now. He's got to find 3.8 seconds. He's got to not destroy his tyres, and he's got, let's say, 10 laps to do the job. Just keep it calm, Bottle. We could be on for an absolute grandstand finish, because as you can see, not far behind, here's this battle with Blue Racer, here's this battle with DJ Rice, and Kuska, who's made a bit of a shoddy lap there. And it's amazing here. Kuska in 8th, DJ Rice in 7th, Blue, Gadget, Bubo, and Bottle all in the same stretch of track. And that's how competitive Tier 1 is now. Once upon a time, the track would have been very much more spaced out between kind of 1st to 6th. Now, yes, we've got TX3 Jack a long way out ahead, but he hasn't had any traffic, he hasn't had any battles, he's just done his race on a 2-stop, which always extrapolates the gap a little bit if you're quick on a 2-stop, because you're not in the pits, you're not slowed at a stationary position. So if you can make the short stops work, the long stint work, then you're always going to have a nice big gap at this point in the race. TX3 Jack, who is still in the 15s at this point, I'd just like to point out, he's absolutely flying out there and really showing his class at the moment. Jaggernaut in the 2nd position. Bottle job in P3. Currently on a purple lap time. Have to see if he can maintain that. Great first sector there, and great second sector. Fantastic third sector as well. Head through Hawthorns there. Can he manage to sneak away with fastest lap this time? He's got a nice target there of Jaggernaut, taking 1.7 seconds out of him already. Absolutely flying. Doesn't touch the grass, which is always important. Still purple. It's all going to come down to the last 2 corners. Jaggernaut runs wide there. He knows the pressure is on. Now will Bottle get a little bit dirty air as they go through Clark Corner. Got to get on that power hard, but not touch that gravel. Here we go. Will Bottlejob manage to run it up to the line and take away the fastest lap? He does with a 14.8. A fantastic lap there by Sir Bottlejob, taking away a few points there from TX3 Jack. And will Jack use the chance of having a huge gap to stick it in the pits and put on a set of sticky tyres to try and get those points back? I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Wants to have the Triple Crown at this race. Not quite the Grand Slam, I think that would be the Grand Chelem, where it's maximum points, but he didn't lead every lap. We very well might see that. We saw that a lot more often back in the older pit stop rules, where pit stops were unnaturally short, and you'd have potentially 3-second time losses for pit stops, and you could just stick a set of sticky tyres on the end of the the third to last lap, do your out lap, and then set a fastest lap on the final lap. And that used to be a very easy way of kind of sneaking yourself fastest lap. It's not so easy to do these days, but I think TX3 Jack might take the opportunity with a 30-second lead. Blue Racer up to P5 after having hit the wall twice. Is still looking fast, but DJ Rice staying with him, and those tyres are looking fairly shot at this point. Rice could have a shot here at taking past, and Blue's gone wide again. I think Blue may have to pit here. I think those tyres are way too far gone. Look at how much he's lighting them up, and Ricey really got a chance here. Kuska's had an absolute... Kuska's gone to the super soft tyres. So he has pitted. He's going to try and either sneak fastest lap or try and get back past Blue if he gets a chance. Meanwhile, Gadget has fallen off the road somewhere, I think, and we've missed that on the track. He's down to 8th position. Had to take another set of tyres. Now, did he try and go for new tyres, or did he get pushed? It looks like possibly a no, that looks like a tyre stop on lap 37. So maybe he is just trying to cover off any possible issue. But Gadget, of course, his race was somewhat ruined by that incident at Sheen. Unsighted incident in front of him, caught the grass and fired himself off the track. But there's someone around there. I didn't see who it was. It is Spooky Lukey. And that is damage again for Spooky. And he is going to be falling a long way back now. Will he get running again? He is into first gear. He's just making sure Shawnee gets past, doesn't cause an incident. Meanwhile, TX3 Jack still rolling on by, but most importantly, we're going to go on board now with the battle for second position. As we are now down to 10 cars. Spooky Lukey unfortunately has retired that car, too much damage. And we'll have to catch up with him later to find out what happened and why he had to retire that car. Bottle now has to make sure he doesn't burn up those tyres. He's got to make the move decisive. I said this all the way through. It's all about not letting your opponent grind your tyres down in the dirty air. Find out where the other person's weak and make that your strength. If you're stronger on corner entry, try and find a way to get close and have him down the inside. But if you're better on corner exit, make sure that you brake a little bit early, but get on that power really nice and hard and make it count. But Jagana is going pretty quickly at this point. Those tyres haven't quite yet fallen off as much as maybe Bottle would like. But he's got to make it happen with those super softs. They may be fading. Definitely got to have a chance here. Or look into somewhere like Surtees, or on the way out of Surtees. Got to really make it work. He's closed the gap up a huge amount as we head to Graham Hill Bend. Got a great exit now. Will he go for the dive into Surtees? We are going on board, and I think he has managed to pull that off. Jaggernaut not getting good exit, but clean as you like that look like. No contact. Jaggernaut now down to P3. Sir Bottlejob up to P2. And will he be able to run away with this now? Just got to keep it cool. Don't run wide now. Now you've got the clean air again. Don't push too hard. But a great job there by Bottlejob, with Jaggernaut just behind. Kuska and Gadget are a long way off the back of Blue Racer, who has now fallen behind DJ Rice. We missed this one on stream, unfortunately. But DJ Rice currently in P5, doing a fantastic job. And I said this might happen with DJ Rice. He's sneaky like that. He just gets good positioning, doesn't let himself get into too many battles, stays clean, and gets himself good results against drivers who you may consider possibly faster over a lap. Well, doesn't matter what happens over a lap, it matters about what happens over the hour, and DJ Rice has put in a fantastic drive, really showing his class and why he deserves to be in Tier 1 after a couple of seasons away in Tier 2 through to unfortunate circumstances. Driver we haven't really spoken about for some time is Boobalubo, or Rock Boy. He's another driver who's put in a fairly quiet performance to currently be in 4th position. He's not probably going to have time to catch up to Jagannath, but he is on better tyres, and you never know how far Jagannath's tyres are going to fall off. So we'll keep an eye on this gap just to see if he can get it down. But Jagannath's tyres are going to start falling off a cliff at this point. You can see he took almost 3 tenths out of him in one corner, maybe 2.5 tenths actually. But it really is closing in at quite the rate. Will he have enough time to not only catch though, and pass? As the now unfortunately late great Murray Walker once said, catching is one thing, passing is another thing entirely. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at Muller in 9th position. Been very consistent, as he always is, just ahead of our race leader TX3 Jack, who is just coming up to lap him. Jack's tyres are of course mostly falling apart now, but he's consistently running out ahead. He knows he doesn't have to worry too much now, just got to bring it home, and that's another 104 points in the bag, unless he decides to go for that sneaky final pit just to rack up a couple of more points. So, here he is, TX3 Jack is going to pit, put on a set of sticky tyres. I think he may have been listening, and see if he can push it and go for a new fastest lap. Bottle Job's already broken the previous qualifying lap record that was here in 2019. How far can TX3 Jack push that? He's got 3 minutes, so that's about 3 laps. So he'll have 2 hot laps to have a go at it, and he's still got around 25 seconds, I think. Yeah, 22 seconds of lead, and that is what happens when you have no battles to fight. You can just run your own pace, don't wear your tyres, and just disappear off in the distance. And this has been an absolutely fantastic drive by TX3 Jack again. We've seen this a lot of times. I'm getting used to it now, and the standings are showing that. Jack may be on pace to take a new record in terms of overall points. Record in a season. It was a great drive in round 1 to get 3rd in the Tomahawk, but ever since then he's looked absolutely indomitable. And really trying to right the wrongs of season 1. So here he goes on his first flying lap attempt to try and steal back steal back fastest lap. But we are just going to see, he is purple in sector 1. Just going to catch back up to this battle for P3. Will Bubo Lubo manage to make the 3-stop work ahead against Jagannath? Well, the gap is down to only a second now, but Bubo's tyres and his fuel is looking a little bit on the ropey side, but you could say the same very much so about Jagannath. Very little fuel left in that car, and those tyres look utterly ruined. Meanwhile, Blue Racer has made a mistake on those tyres, and Kuska's approach of pitting one more time has really worked out. Those tyres are wrecked on that Honda NSX, and maybe even Gadget's going to have a chance to take that position back, and that would be some sort of irony, I think, after the... you could argue that Blue's mistake is what caused Gadget to miss out on a few positions. 3 seconds is a lot of time to catch in maybe 2 laps, or maybe a lap remaining. So we'll jump back on board with TX2 Jack, who has stolen away the fastest lap with a 14.6, a fantastic lap time. There is... Oh, fantastic drive there. Fantastic lap. Can he find a little bit more? No, he's 3/10 off. I think he's backed it off, knowing that this is the final lap of the race on lap 47. And we're just going to take one last look at the battle between Bubo and Janet. Bubo's going to have to really find some way of getting past. This is the only point in the track he really can do it. I think Janet's going to just hold on and manage to stay ahead. It's a great drive by both these drivers. Really showing their consistency and their class shining through. But we're going to jump back on board with our race leader and soon to be race winner TX3 Jack, who's going to get himself pole, fastest lap and the win, and take another victory here at Brands Hatch. So well job, 27 seconds behind on a pair of absolutely ruined super soft tyres. Briefly held fastest lap. Well, for about 8 laps, with a fantastic lap time. Managed to stay ahead and managed to make his 3-stop work against the 2-stop strategies. Got caught up in a few battles, but really drove a great race to P2. Should be very pleased with that. Jagannath is going to hold on for P3 and get himself another podium. And Rockboy finishes 4th again. He's probably getting very bored of that one. DJ Rice with an excellent race to 5th. Kuska possibly could have been a little further up, but got caught up in a lot of battles. Blue Racer and Gadget really coming close to across the line, and Gadget is going to sneak 7th place. We'll see if we can just see what happened there. Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, we couldn't see that, but we'll have to take a look back and sometime find out exactly what happened there. But it is TX3 Jack with a clean race, fastest lap and pole position, and the victory. So, congratulations to all our podium finishers and all the rest of our finishers for another fantastic race from them all. We're going to stay around if there's any podium interviews on offer, and maybe someone else if they're interested. But fantastic drive there from everybody. Really classic, cracking race. We saw so many cars so close together for so much of the race, and really a great work. But, we're getting used to having these 3 guys on the podium. We've had all 3 of them on in round 2, and we'll see if we get the same thing again. But definitely a difficult track, and you saw quite a few cars fall by the wayside. Bottle Job will be joining us shortly, and see if we can get the same from Jagannath and TX3 Jack. So just give us a moment, everybody. Just gotta get the podium lobby sorted out for our race drivers. So we've just opened up that party with the other drivers, and we should be able to get there. Hello, hello, welcome to Bottle Job. We're just going to see if we can get hold of Jagernat first, but fantastic drive as usual. Jagernat is in as well, but we'll get to you in just a second. But Jagernat, great P3, just holding on there at the end to keep the third position. I'm sure you're ecstatic about a P3 on that two-stop strategy, which looked difficult to pull off. Can you hear me, Jagernat? I can now.
It's
Haha! That's not a problem. It's good to get that sorted. But yes, I shall repeat my question. Obviously, I'm sure you must be ecstatic with P3. Another P3. We've had this, I think, this exact podium, but just yourself and Bottle Job switched round in I think race 2 at Alsace. So I'm sure another P3 is definitely pleased. Actually, I think we had this podium last time out as well at Suzuka. So we're getting used to seeing you up on the podium. And
oh yeah, yes, I'm super happy about that because I thought I wouldn't get it at the end.
it did look like Rockboy was closing you down
Oh yeah,
fairly quickly.
but yeah, plenty of battles with Bottle Job, who did a fantastic job to overtake me. So hats off to him. And yeah, super happy about that.
Yeah, it looked like a great battle between you two, and like I say, it was clean throughout. Really good job.
I hope so, yeah.
Well, it looked clean from my point of view, and most of the time you were probably the defensive driver, being on the two-stop. So you put the car in great positions. I think the tyres just ran out for you at the end there when Bottle had his last go through Surtees. It's probably the best corner on the track to overtake, especially with the disparity in grip. But obviously, this is really good for your championship standings. I believe you and Bottle Job will both jump Bubo now, with Bottle taking P2 and yourself taking P3 in the standings. And I believe next time out is Sardegna in the Group 4. How are you feeling about that in the 86?
Well, considering the last race at Suzuka, I'm not too convinced about the GT86, so I don't know. I'm not looking forward too much to the next race.
Yeah, I mean the 86 is the car which currently holds the qualifying lap record at Sardegna, eh?
But wasn't it the case at Suzuka as well?
That was also the case at Suzuka as
Yeah.
well. I'll give you one tip for free, which is the 86. If you find it something nice and fast in a straight line to sit behind, it goes well for you. Let's put it that way. You won't win, but you'll have a good chance at P2. Not
Well,
speaking from experience at all.
I would take that all time.
I'm sure you would. But I'm sure, last season was a quite up and down season for yourself. Of course, this season started off with that Tokyo race, which you were never going to be particularly strong at with the TSO 50.
Exactly.
But you really put together probably your best campaign so far, with podiums in all the subsequent
Yeah, very
rounds.
consistent so far.
Yeah, definitely. So, including a pole position, which is your second pole position.
Yeah, it is, and
Yeah.
it's not my strength, I would say. So
Definitely, really putting together that all the little skills you need to put yourself at the top of the pile. I'm not sure how top of the pile you probably felt after looking at the gap to to JJ tonight, but I think everyone knows that JJ's both operating at a really high level.
I
at the
feel
moment.
like he's in a league of his own right now.
I think he definitely had an easy time tonight after Blue fell off. No battles to have.
Yeah.
It just makes it so easy at this track to be consistent and fast when you're just on your own, not having to deal with all the damage.
But yeah, he created the gap for himself. So
Absolutely. So
congrats for him. To him.
yeah, I think you should be absolutely chuffed with the P3, especially on that two-stop strategy. And
Yeah.
look forward to seeing how you do next time out at Sardinia.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Well, Bottle, I guess that was probably as good as you could wish for.
Yep, that about sums it up. P2 was what I knew I could do and what I was aiming for.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive. A lot of tough but fair moves I think you had to make, and quite a few times getting stuck in the traffic on that 3-stop and having to be really patient and not overdriving the car, unlike some drivers that we did see lose their head a little bit, I'd say, and went for moves that weren't really on. He kept it very consistent, just waited for those kind of 2 or 3 traditional opportunities here at Brands Hatch of kind of Surtees and up towards Druids and that sort of area, not doing anything outlandish. But of course, qualifying was great for you as well. P3.
Yep.
Really set yourself up, and I'm guessing when you saw Blue facing the wrong way on, I think, lap 4, you must have known things were looking pretty good.
Yeah. I think actually, if you look at the start of the race, I think after qualifying, I think I was more looking at P3 and hoping for maybe a P2 if the incident that did happens, which of course it did. Because we've seen in all the past races, I think at Alsace, and now here, going off for his own volition, and own accidents, no one else involved. I think proving to be quite a common habit, which I also had when I first came into the into this top tier. Does take quite a few races for us. Like, even if it's not that big of a difference, there's definitely something in there which makes which hampers someone's first season.
Yeah, it's a big step up. It's not about speed anymore. It's about your consistency and your ability to keep it off the grass and off the barriers. There's no second chances in Tier 1 these days, even for the top drivers. You make a mistake, you're not coming first anymore. It's kind of recovering to a podium at the very best. The win is, once you make a mistake, the win's gone. There's too many quick drivers, and that's not just Jack. That's all sorts of drivers who can just win a race. We saw the first race of the season, Rockboy won because Spooky made a small 5-second mistake that cost him in the pits, and that lost him the race. It's so easy to just throw it away now. The competition's so high. Now I believe you're not taking part next week at Saldegna.
I maybe, I may not. That all depends on the night.
Fair enough.
Next week is a very busy week for me, and so I adjusted for that by doing all my practice last week. Last week. So I've all practiced up for next round in Sardinia and the Group 1 round at Santa Croix. I think I've had to all practice then, so I'll be hopping into the rooms quite green, but with the underlying knowledge.
Absolutely. Well,
to hopefully be enough to carry me to half decent results.
Yep.
I only need one to be good as we drop 2 rounds.
Absolutely. So I believe this moves you clear into second place in the championship. Obviously, you're going to have a slightly green next race and possibly Santa Croix. But Santa Croix, at least you've probably got a very strong car there.
Yep.
With the Porsche.
The hybrid LMPs will do quite good. Will do very good, as shown in our pre-season testing.
Absolutely.
I mean, not recently, but in the original ones at the start of the year, when we were testing if we could allow the hybrid cars within the series as a whole.
Yes, definitely. So
if everyone was involved, Plux for Duck kind of dominated in the 919 at that circuit.
Yep, it definitely looked like a good car. So hopefully it will work out similar again. I think lap times will be very close, just under the 3-minute mark. I think around there. So we'll have quite a short number of laps, about 21 laps or 20 laps or 21 laps.
Yeah, I like long lap times. I think it plays to advantage. I don't have to master all the corners. I just have to do them well enough.
It's a weird one. It's kind of I have a similar opinion. Long laps, there's more corners to individually learn, but you have to do them less times. So it's kind of the fear doesn't come up as often, which is always good. But like I say, I'll let you head off. Congratulations on P2 and moving up into second in the championship. And catch you again next.
There's something that I want to just put in them. I don't know when I did or where, but at some point in that race, I shifted into fuel map 2, and I have no clue when. And I only found out when I came out of the pits on my final stints.
I was wondering how you had so much fuel in the car.
It's like I came in halfway through, and I had 44%, and people had 21. I'm like, hold on here. I know I'm doing some better shift points than he is, but I shouldn't be 20% ahead.
Yes, that does somewhat seem slightly unlikely, but it kind of worked for you.
It did. I mean, I think it might. I think the only time I can think of where it might have been was when I first came behind Gadget after the first stop. I think that's the only time I can remember ever moving on to the fuel map on the HUD.
That's very interesting. Second place and used 10% less fuel than you should have done. That's what the job summed up. Well, enjoy P2 and catch you potentially next time out.
See ya.
So that brings us to TX3 Jack winning again, which is probably becoming quite usual for him. Fantastic drive. This is your first kind of Grand Slam of the season, and it's kind of been a long, not long-standing. It's the wrong word. It's definitely been coming, and it's you've been fast everywhere. And some tracks you just haven't had the pole, but you've definitely been the quickest overall. I'm sure you must be thrilled with winning like that.
Yeah, this track isn't about pace. You just got to be consistent and not brash like Blue. I think he had the pace on me, but he wasn't consistent enough, so that cost him the race.
I think you could see just in the difference in your approaches. You seemed pretty fine with following him through that first stint. You didn't seem to be trying to get back at him. You're just going to run your race. I think you were quite... obviously, I know you went for that late pit stop, but really, you did a 2-stop race. And I feel like that was your plan going through. You never seemed to ran your race, and I think you would have run that race even if Blue hadn't hit the wall. I think Blue was very much going for the I'm going fast, do the 4-stop, and you were doing the I'm going to be consistent and do the 2-stop. And it's very interesting because that's how this race was won last year as well. Was the consistency? Oh, not last year, sorry, 2019 was won by being the most consistent. So really showing that this track is just all about not falling off, and it makes a huge amount of time. You were actually exceptionally fast, by the way. You were in the 15s for a very long time during those stints when others were down into the 16s. So you weren't slow, put it that way. You just found a really good natural rhythm, I think. Now part of that I think may be coming from the steering wheel and pedals that you've recently swapped over to. How are you finding that?
It took a long time to get used to it, but it's definitely better than the controller now that I'm used to it and I've got the hang of it. So
yeah, it does make a world of difference. I'm sure you're going to be lightning fast and still get faster still, and I think for a long time coming probably will be the predominant force in ADEC. I don't think too many people have got the pace to stick with you when you've now got the consistency to back it up. Obviously next week we've got what's it called, Sardegna A, and you'll be back in the McLaren where you won last time with the McLaren at Suzuka, and you said through that race you felt really good in that car and it was really consistent. I'm guessing you're feeling it's going to be very similar at Sardegna.
Yeah, the McLaren's always a nice car to drive, and I love Sardegna, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Looking ahead in the championship, I think it's becoming clear that you've kind of got a bit of a stranglehold on it now. 3 wins on the bounce and a podium in round 1. Do you think you can make 6 wins of it, or do you think someone might pip you to having a perfect season, or a perfect counted season, let's say?
I don't think I'm going to be able to get 6. It's very rare that I can have a season without being in 1 race at least.
Well, you remember you have got the advantage of still 1 drop. You can have 1 more race where you don't take the top position and still have 6 wins. But it is looking very possible for you. Obviously, it's a very hard feat to do. And no one's managed it in this kind of modern era of ADEC with the very competitive field that we have. No one's managed to quite have a completely perfect season. So it would be very impressive if you do manage it, and look forward to watching to see if you can. I know you probably feel like your probably weakest remaining track is probably Saint Croix in the Tomahawk. That's probably where you're feeling like you're not going to be able to get another win. So it kind of comes down to the Group 3 race to finish the season and the second Group 2 race. I think both of those are going to be possibly the tracks where you might make an error. It might slip you up, let's say. But so far, it's looking very good for a second ADEC Tier 1 championship.
Yeah, the Saint Croix one. It's one of my favourite tracks again, but the car's terrible, so.
Well, at least you'll be strong in a straight line. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you celebrate. Congratulations on another victory, and hope to catch you again next week.
Thanks. See you.
So, thank you all for joining us for the Acelith Design Endurance Championship. Round 4 at Brands Hatch in the Group 2 cars in Tier 1. Acelith Design are our sponsors for the Endurance Championship, and you can use an exclusive code to get money off on any of their fantastic wheel upgrades for Fanatec, Logitech and Thrustmaster. So head over to Acelith Design and get an upgrade for your wheel today. And catch us again next time out at Sardegna A.